throw some out? Do we need to add some, redo some? So those are conversations you're all gonna have together. Once we have all that complete, we need to set a goal. A SMART goal. What percentage of students do we think can attain this goal? So look at these examples up here. I'm gonna share with you your other team's SMART goals also. By the end of the 6 weeks, 85% of algebra students will attain a level 3. Casey and Tori's pod said by the end of November, they were thinking y'all would maybe be complete with this standard by the end of November, 70% of students will score proficient or above on standard 4.11. Heather and Katie, they did the same thing. 70% will be on level 3 by the end of November. So y'all just need to decide, do you think 70% is a doable goal? Is that something y'all like to keep all of 4th grade? And again, that's why it's important for us to all plan together as a grade level. But do you think 70% of your students by the end of November will be proficient on this standard? What do you think? What are your thoughts? You know your classrooms.
My class as a whole is lower in math than in reading. But I feel like I've seen a lot of progress so far, and with using Reflex for fact fluency, that's definitely going to help their pace as we move through this. I mean, I think yes, it could happen.
Yeah, I would like to see a proficiency skill, a pre-assessment to determine if that goal is to help determine the goal.
And remember, goals can be changed.
Yes.
And we don't want it too high,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't want it too low either. Like we want some more growth in there, some stretch growth in there. So when we set our goal, so if we're gonna say 70%, we've gotta do some periodic checks. And y'all were doing that through your formative assessments. So throughout it, if you're doing your formative assessments and you see, 70% may be too high. Okay, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna adjust it. Okay, because I'm sure this isn't the only time you teach this, because it had check marks through every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna revisit the skill later on. So do you wanna start by saying 70%?
I would love to have 70%.
Okay, so I want you to write that on y'all's paper, because I'm gonna copy it. You can just write it over here to the side somewhere or at the bottom. By the end of November. 70% of students will be proficient. So now, it's one thing for you to know it. Who else needs to know that goal? The kids, the students need to know, because they need to set that goal also. And maybe the ultimate goal is for individual students to set their own goals. Because what if I'm at 20%? 70 is too lofty for me.
Right.
So I'm gonna set some individual goals. That's the ultimate end game. But we're taking baby steps. But to know we have a grade level goal, and now you're gonna monitor your classroom level in comparison to that. What about some individual student goals? And that is y'all's area you're working on this year. It's one of your elements you're working on. So I'm gonna give you a few examples, and I'm gonna send these to you electronically so you can edit them however you'd like. This is just a very easy, low-level example of a goal-setting chart for students. I'll practice my vocabulary words at home. Just some easy ones for kids to say, this is my goal. I'm gonna give you one that may be a little bit deeper. And this may be a goal for us to get to. It may not be something we do right now. Maybe we say second semester, I'm gonna start trying to implement these. But this is an individual goal setting sheet for students, and they could keep it in their data tracker binder. But here's the priority standard. And this is what you were talking about, Kara, current score out of 4. So you've done a pre-assessment, here's their score. But what's your goal? If I'm at a 2, I wanna be a 3. 3 is the goal, because we all want to be proficient. And y'all said November, in order to accomplish the above goal, I'll do the following. Now, if we don't have kid-friendly scales, they can't really tell where they are in relation to the goal, right? So, I'm going to challenge one of you to, and somebody else in the 4th grade may have done it as well, I'd check with them. all you have to do is copy and paste this in AI and ask for a kid-friendly scale. Katie did it the other day with one of the standards she was working on. And then every kid has a kid-friendly scale, and there's usually check boxes beside each skill. So when they take their pre-assessment, they can pull the scale out and say, let's look at the twos. Are you proficient? Can you do this? Where are you? Can they make check marks? Now, I'm responsible for my own learning. Y'all, that's a high level on Hattie's scale of effectiveness, right? Students taking responsibility for their own learning, and that's the goal we have here at Maddox. So this would just be a way, every exit ticket you do, every common form of assessment, they are recording, was I a 2 or was I a 3? Where was I, on the scale? But keep this in mind, where they end is where they end. I'm not averaging their 2s and 3s of all the assessments, because they're learning along the way and they're getting better and they're getting better. So I don't care if they had 6 2s, but they had 2 3s at the end, they're a 3. They've mastered the skills. So keep that in mind. But this, I think, is a goal we could work towards, because kids need to set goals for themselves and own those goals. And the only way they can do it is if they know what's expected of them and how can they get there. So that's what proficiency scales do for our kiddos. So that's question 3.